This is Azento, and I have here with me Ayla, victorious against Dignitas. Just tell me, I guess, how you felt about that series, because it seemed like you guys just completely stomped Dignitas.
Yeah, I think Dig came pretty unprepared for the playoffs. They were like, they were kind of mentally out of it. Like during the series, you could just tell they were like playing extraordinarily bad. And I think the drafts were also pretty bad. I don't think we had a good read on the meta or what we were going to play. And I think on the other hand, we kind of expected everything from them. And like we knew how to beat them. So yeah, I think at the end of the season, a lot of teams crumble and like break apart because of problems or whatever. And I think Dig is just one of his teams.
So specifically, game one was obviously the closest and most interesting of the games. That Baron sequence, the entire time it seemed like you guys were going back and forth, and then there was a call, after Isles got an engage on you guys again, the Rel, and ended up killing you guys mid lane, and then they started to try and take Baron. Like, what were the calms like during that time? Because I imagine it had to have been crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic, I think. When we started Baron the first time, our plan was to either look for a fight or turn. I think we got a good fight. We didn't finish Baron, we just got a good fight. And we just overchased. So like me, Riv, and Quid overchased on mid lane. And then like Riv dipped, right? But like Azir was slept. Like we kind of messed up there. I think that was a big problem, but luckily we still won the game.
So specifically, it looked like for this series, 100 Thieves looked significantly better for macro. What have you guys kind of changed as far as like your ideas on how to play the map? Because in game one, we actually saw a lane swap. Both of you guys actually initiated it, but it looked like you guys actually had the better bot 2v2 matchup against the what was it, Ezreal and Rel, and you were playing Nautilus and MF. So yeah, it looked like you guys had the winning bot lane matchup. But just talk to me about the macro ideas, I guess, of 100 Thieves and like how you guys are progressing.
Yeah, so I think it's no secret everyone will be seeing this, but basically every LCS team has been lane swapping on repeat. So like going to the series, even though we didn't scrim dig, it's like pretty obvious they're gonna lane swap, and we decided to match them. But I think it's a real headache, honestly. I think all the lane swaps went well for us, so that was pretty fortunate for us, but it's been like a goddamn headache dealing with these swaps. I don't like them personally, but honestly, ever since TL came back from MSI and they just perma lane swapped all the time, I think every other team realized they have to also do it, otherwise they're at a too big of a disadvantage, so it will just keep happening.
So if you could actually, if you had the power, if you were like Riot and you could take lane swaps out of the game, would you?
Of course. It's not even, of course.
Okay. So as far as like this entire series and everything, it did look like Dignitas was completely tilted, especially game three. What do you think about just playing in the game? Could you guys actually tell they were tilted?
Oh yeah, I mean for sure. Game 3 especially, where bot lane was taking like disgustingly bad trades, and they're kind of just running into us and dying. I mean we ended up like diving them multiple times or just whacking their tower and repeat, and it's pretty. Everyone was having fun. It was pretty obvious they were out of it, and it was going to be a 3-0.
So 100 Thieves has kind of had a little bit of a ramp up throughout the entire split, I would say. And specifically, of course, you guys had the 80 carry substitute coming in. Talk to me about your difference, I guess, and how you've interacted with Tomo versus Meech. Like, what big differences are you seeing in between these two 80 carries?
Yeah. So with Meech, he was a very quiet, probably the quietest person I've ever worked with.
Oh, wow.
So I would try to handle everything and be like the proactive one, always calling for how we want the lane to play and like what we wanted to do, not even in lane, but like also throughout the whole game. But I think honestly, it was pretty hard to handle for me. So I think when Tomo came in, he's a lot more experienced than Meech. He has a big opinion, and like in game, a lot of times he really wants to do stuff. He wants to fight, or like he has a good idea of how he wants to play his lane. So I think that's been really helpful because it takes the load off my shoulders, and then I'm able to think or focus more on other stuff that are like important to the game. For example, like engaging well, or like our macro, like syncing up with jungle mid and all that. And honestly, he's just been really helpful in that.
So I did hear that you were kind of one of the main shot callers for the team, that you kind of decide what happens during the mid game and whatnot. Can you talk to me a little bit about that, about your experience as far as shot calling for this team? Like, how difficult has it been for you as a player in trying to improve in that aspect?
I think at the start of the split, I came in pretty hot. We boot camped in Korea, and I was very vocal at the time, and we're doing really well. But I think towards middle of the season, when we like had a big losing streak, honestly, I don't think anyone was playing really well. But like in particular, behind the scenes, our comms were pretty bad. Like our carries were really quiet, and then me and Riv would find it really hard to shot call or like get the right like engages and all that. So I think that was a big problem. But I think we focused really hard to fix that, and like putting more responsibility on carries. Like the quiet ones, Quid and Sniper. Okay, Sniper's not quiet, he just says wrong stuff. But we've been trying to fix that, and I think he's gotten a lot better. But like, we were trying to really hard to focus on that. And then when Tomo came in, I think they kind of learned off him, because Tomo was like very direct on what he wanted. Like, I want to push this lane, or like, item gap, it's really good to fight, all this kind of stuff that a carry should normally say. He did that really well, and I think it rubbed off on Quid and Snipes, because I think we were trying really hard to learn on those things, and now we're at the point where it's like everyone's chiming in to like shotcall, you know? Like me and Riv still decide a lot of macro and how we want to play, but like all the carries are consistently chiming in like how they want to play lane, or like do they want to push the side lane, and it's just, we're more of a complete team now.
That's good. That's good to hear. So finally, I want to get your take on the bracket. So you guys have moved up, at least from the Riot graphic. It shows that you're going to be facing against Team Liquid. What do you think about that?
I think Team Liquid are by far the best team. They have like the least weaknesses. They have they have multiple ways to win. Like they have good macro, they're good laning, they're good at lane swap. So it will be the toughest opponent out of everyone. But I think with this win 3-0, and with how everyone's been playing, I'm pretty confident going into it. I think our last series against them was close, and I think it'll be close against them, but I'm hoping we can win.
All right. Well, I am looking forward to that game. It's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to the lane swaps. Maybe you aren't.
I don't want a lane swap.
All right. This has been Azento and Ayla from 100 Thieves. Thank you for your time.